Hi, my name is Albert with Mainland Cycle Center. Today I want to show you an Ultra 300 LX. This is a 2013 model, and this one is sitting on a Triton aluminum trailer. This is called the Elite trailer, and one of the advantages to the Elite trailer is that it's longer, and so it has room to add a toolbox or a storage box and some gas cans. It has a gas can rack on it, so you can put some gas cans on it so you can carry your extra fuel. But let's take a look at this rig. You know, if you really want to stand out going down the road or when you pull up to the boat ramp with your new jet ski, this is how you do it. This is the Mac Daddy trailer with the Mac Daddy jet ski, an Ultra 300 LX. That 300 is 300 horsepower. That is incredible, 300 horsepower on a jet ski. This is the highest horsepower product that we sell. There's nothing on our showroom floor that has more horsepower than this. Most cars out on the road today don't have 300 horsepower. There are a lot of boats without 300 horsepower. Just absolutely incredible. The performance, the acceleration on these 300s is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you haven't ridden one, you've got to ride one because they are incredible. Top speed on these is probably between 68 and 70 miles an hour. I understand the Coast Guard has some limitations on how fast that they can run, but the acceleration on them is fair game, and Kawasaki has taken advantage of that. These are just absolutely incredible when it comes to acceleration. We sell two versions of the 300, the 300X and then the 300LX. This, of course, is an LX, as I mentioned, and the biggest difference between the two is the seats. This has the touring or saddle style seat on the LX model. The LX model also has a cutout on the handlebar to be able to add like a GPS, handheld GPS, and so that's the biggest difference between the X and the LX. The LX models tend to be a little bit maybe not as bold of graphics, although this is a pretty good looking, bold looking jet ski for sure. Definitely fantastic. HydroTurf mats are standard on it. Has two grab handles, one down low, one up high. This one down low is really nice for reboarding in deep water. And speaking of reboarding in deep water, it comes with a standard retractable reboarding step. Got your dual drain plugs on the back. Also, while we're here at the back of the jet ski, these are the flushing ports. We're down here in Texas on the Gulf Coast, and so we have a lot of customers that ride in salt water. And so when we ride in salt water, we've got to flush them out when we get through riding in the salt water. So the black port here is for flushing the engine. And what you do there is you don't run this water without running the motor. So you want to hook your hose up, but don't turn the water on. Start the motor, and then turn your water on. We usually flush for about 5 minutes or so. And then you want to turn your water off and then kill the engine. You don't want to run the engine for more than about 30 seconds or so without water running because you don't want to overheat the engine. But it's very important that you don't run that water on the black side without running the motor. If you were to hook a hose up here and just let it run, it would eventually fill the motor with water because it runs into the exhaust. It would fill up the exhaust and then fill up the engine. So very important, don't run the water without running the motor on the black port. The gray port is for flushing the intercooler. And on this one, we don't run the motor. You just hook the hose up and run it for about 5 minutes to flush your supercharger. So you can use these anytime you want to run the jet ski out of the water. If like during the winter time, if you want to crank it up and just run it a little bit when it's during off season, you can hook your water hose up here and run it in your driveway or in the yard or whatever. And then, of course, like I said, for salt water, we want to flush them when we get out of the salt water. But one of the other things I'll show you while we're back here, this jet ski has what's called smart steering, and the nozzle back here is how the jet ski is steered. And so by turning this nozzle, the handlebars turn when we turn that nozzle. I don't know if you can see that. And that's what turns the jet ski, the thrust coming out here. So there's no rudder on the back like you might see on a big ship or a sailboat or something like that. There's no rudder sticking out. So with most watercraft, if you don't give them throttle, they will not turn. They continue to go straight. So what I mean by that is if on most watercraft, if you were at speed and you were to let off the throttle and turn the wheel, you would continue going straight. And so with new riders who are unfamiliar with how to ride a watercraft, that could be a problem. They'll run right into what they were trying to avoid. All of the Kawasaki watercraft on the market today have what's called smart steering, Kawasaki's exclusive smart steering. And what that does is that if you're at speed and you let off the throttle and turn the wheel, it's going to give you some off-throttle steering. And that's just really a fantastic feature. It works really, really well. You've got a tie-down tow hook here for pulling a skier or a tuber. Plenty of power to pull a skier or tuber. You've also got some tie-downs here on each side for tying it down while it's on the trailer. These do have reverse, and so you've got your reverse lever right there. It's on the opposite side of the throttle, so it's really nice that you can work the throttle with one hand and the reverse with the other. You've got a lanyard to tie to your wrist, and then it comes with two keys. It's got the orange key is the full power, so full power operation, and then the yellow key is the slow key or smart learning operation. So if you have riders, guests, or anything like that you want to slow them down, you can provide them with the yellow key, and that will reduce the power by about 20% or so, and just you know, keep people from anybody getting hurt, running into things. Just slow it down. It also get a lot better gas mileage in that mode, so fuel economy. And those just plug in right there. You've got full digital instrumentation. You've got speedometer, tachometer, a boost gauge for the supercharger, tilt and trim, and a fuel gauge, as well as a clock, hour meter, trip time, trip distance. You know, really everything we've come to expect now in instrumentation. Huge storage compartment. The Ultra models have more storage than anything else on the market. Almost 60 gallons of storage on these Ultra models. So you've got a little storage bucket here. The yellow container here is for your fire extinguisher. This bucket picks up. And then you've got that massive, massive storage compartment in there. That little motor that you're seeing right there is for the tilt and trim. The battery is behind that cover. And then there's another panel right there to allow you to access inside the hull for doing maintenance or service. Here's your fuel fill. It does require 90 plus octane fuel. There. Let's take a look at the motor if we can. It's got a two-piece seat, and so underneath this rear seat is a toolkit, and then also a storage compartment, and then your rear seat. Let's see if we can just kind of set it back here. Picks up. Well, let's walk around this side, get a little better view. And there's a look at your motor. 1500cc inline 4, 1.5 liter. This is a purpose-built marine engine just for these Kawasaki jet skis. We do not use this motor in any of our other products. Your supercharger is back there. It's a little hard to see, but one of the cool things about these, because I know what you're thinking, wow, that looks really tight, but if you remove these 4 bolts on the back, this panel removes and it opens up this area to be able to get in there and keep everything cleaned up and maintained and serviced. Then the supercharger is located below this. This has an Eaton supercharger. That supercharger runs off of the drive shaft, and if you don't know what a supercharger does, a supercharger essentially forces air into the motor. It's like a fan that runs off the drive shaft, like a compressor, and it forces air into the motor. Now when that air is compressed, that air gets hot. Hot air is the nemesis of making horsepower. If you've heard of people putting nitrous on their cars, or even now the menthol injection that we've seen, the nitrous on those cars, what it does is it makes that air, that charge, that fuel and air mixture colder. When it gets colder, it contracts or becomes denser, and so you get a larger charge into the cylinder. A larger charge into the cylinder means a larger explosion. Larger explosion means more horsepower. So we have a supercharger to force air into the motor, so now you're not having to take power away from the motor for it to suck air in, but now air is being forced into the motor, so that frees up some horsepower. And then before that air goes into the motor, when it comes out of the supercharger, it goes through a intercooler. And an intercooler is basically like a radiator, but for air. Instead of using air to cool down water like we do with the radiator in your car or truck, we're using water to cool down the hot air. And these work really good. They're quite efficient. Kawasaki says that we can bring that air temperature back down to the ambient temperature, or in some cases, depending on the water temperature, actually colder than the outside air temperature. And so we get a denser charge So not only are we forcing air in there, but then we're cooling that air back down under pressure before we put it in the motor. All of that is how we get that 300 horsepower on these jet skis. Just incredible, incredible performance. And let's put this seat back on real quick. Again, this is on a Triton Elite trailer. Comes with the alloy wheels, has the step fenders. One of the things you get on these Triton trailers is a torsion axle. So instead of having a leaf spring suspension, it's got a torsion axle. A smoother ride for the jet ski. These also have the step fenders. All of the Triton Elite trailers use stainless steel hardware, so these nuts and bolts, all of that stuff is stainless steel. And again, we talked about your gas can rack. This gas can rack does have a little, we've got just a hitch pin through it right now, but you can put a padlock on it to lock up your gas. You know how much gas costs nowadays. You don't want somebody to steal your gas sitting at the boat ramp. And of course you've got this really nice aluminum box. It's got a little strut on the back. You saw how it kind of opens slow, really nice. There. Tongue jack. We put tongue jacks on all of our trailers that we sell. This trailer also has the rubber mounted kind of flush fit lights, completely sealed, 100% sealed, so you're not going to get water in those lights. But just a really, like I said, a great looking rig. If you want to just really impress, this is the rig to do it with. The Ultra 300 LX on a Triton Elite trailer with that aluminum box and the gas cans, just ready to go. All right. We're Mainland Cycle Center. We're located about 30 minutes south of downtown Houston, just off of I-45 in LaMarque, Texas. Our website right there is mainlandcyclecenter.com. Our phone number, 409-948-4969. Give us a call, shoot us an email, even better, come by and see us in person. We would love to show you the full line of Kawasaki jet skis and find the right one for you. Hey, thanks for watching.